What is up, guys? You're listening to episode 119 of the MFCEO Project. I'm Andy. I'm your host, and I am the motherfucking CEO. Yeah, I know that intro was a little different, but I was getting tired of hearing the same thing. I was getting annoyed by myself for saying the same thing, so I just got to change it up. Guys, if this is your first time listening, welcome. This podcast is for everybody. It doesn't matter if you own a business. It doesn't matter if you aspire to own a business. It doesn't matter if you don't aspire to own a business. This podcast is for you if you have the mentality of wanting to punch life straight in the fucking mouth, kick ass, and take no prisoners in everything you do, which is the definition of greatness. Why is it called the MFCEO Project? A lot of people say, Andy, why do you got to say motherfucker in front of the CEO? Because it's cool. It means you're a badass. And what better way to go through life than being a bad motherfucker and being the motherfucking CEO of your life? How many people go through life living in a box that they were put in by other people only to wish that they would have just taken control of their life and done the things they wanted to do, become the person they wanted to be. And that person they wanted to be is that person that you dream about being before you go to sleep at night, okay? It's the one you don't tell anybody about, and it's the one that you should be, and that's a motherfucking CEO, all right? That's what we're going to talk about. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Vaughn Kohler, a.k.a. the pastor of disaster, a.k.a. Vaughn the Impaler, a.k.a. DJ God. What's up, my man?
I've got a new pre-podcast ritual, and it's just gonna blow your mind.
It's not masturbating, is it?
No.
Okay.
No, that might work for some people. No, I'm a child of the 80s. So I drive in here, I was listening to Ozzy Osbourne. I was listening to Motley Crue. I was listening to AC/DC, which brings up a very important point that I want to make. You like this rap stuff, but I really think you need. I really think you need to open up Thursday Thunders with Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good intro.
It is a good intro.
I can play it on guitar.
Can you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a cool intro.
That. So I was locked in listening to that. So we're just gonna take it to the next level.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
I like my John Cena intro. See, you don't even know, but we changed the intro on you.
No, I know. What's that?
Oh, do you? That's John
it?
Cena, dude.
Yeah, I don't. I see. John Cena, isn't he an actor?
You're fucking fired.
Isn't he the Marine guy that's an actor?
Oh, I guess he is the Marine. You're still fired.
All right.
He's a wrestler, dude. He's cool as fuck.
Yeah, but okay, fine. But that's like
that music is cool on its own, though. I like the intro.
Do you think of The Rock as an actor or a wrestler?
Actor.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay.
But it took a long time for me to think that.
Yeah.
And we're also joined by our producer, MC Salmon, a.k.a. Tyler.
Once again, the only time he even wants to introduce me is just so he can come up with,
That's
and
right.
say
I
my
just want
nickname.
to make sure that MC Salmon sticks to you.
No, dude, I get, I get some messages already about
I want it to stick.
Yeah.
Make
Did
it
you
stick.
see somebody suggested that we start marketing MFCEO salmon shorts?
You know what?
Yeah.
You guys can all wear those things, but I'm sticking a camo. All right, so what are we talking about today?
Well, everybody always wants to know your take on things.
Yeah, they do.
Books, different cultural phenomena. And you seen that video that's gone around with Simon Sinek talking about millennials in the workplace?
Yes, I did.
Well,
that was
basically,
pretty good.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
It had a lot of really good things to say.
You know what? I honestly, I don't agree with a lot of things that he says, but that was a great video.
It was.
I also, I don't know. Some of the things he says are a little out there for me, and I don't really agree with them because they're not real world shit. It's idealism. And I'm not an idealist. I'm a realist. So I can get down with some of the things he says, but a lot of the shit he says, you could tell it's not coming from a place of reality. It's coming from a place of what would be ideal. But with that being said, I do like some of his stuff. Never met him personally. I'm sure he's a cool dude. But that video was great.
It is great. So we're going to link to the video from the website, themfceo.com. But I transcribed it and I broke it down, and I'm going to throw out some key concepts that Simon Sinek talks about. We're just going to get Andy's take on it. because this is relevant to our audience. I mean, most of you guys listening are millennials, frankly, and then those that aren't are going to have to do business with millennials.
Yep.
And I know...
and it's a completely different way of dealing with people.
Right. And I was going to bring up the point before we get really into this is that this is your life. You hire a ton of millennials and have done very successfully.
I would say
with the
almost
millennials.
every single employee of ours is a millennial.
Right. So let me just throw out. So basically, he starts out by saying that millennials are pretty much anybody born 1984 or after. And he says, and I quote, apparently they are tough to manage, accused of being entitled, narcissistic, self-interested, unfocused, lazy, but entitled being the big one. And then he says, because they confound leaders so much, leaders are asking the millennials, what do you want? And this is what they're finding out that they want. They want a place of purpose. They want to work in a place of purpose. They want to make an impact, as Simon Sinek says, whatever that means. And then they want free food and beanbags. So I guess my first question in your experience is, why do you think millennials in particular are so driven by this sense of purpose? And how do you, as an employer, how have you provided that sense of purpose?
Well, a lot of people will read that and think it's a bad thing, to be driven by purpose. Like a lot of business people, I would say, like business people always say that, millennials are driven by purpose, and they kind of make fun of them or whatever. But like, I actually think it's cool that they're driven by purpose, because now with the way that business has evolved, and we've talked about this before, if you're not driven by purpose, if you're not driven by solving a problem, if you're not driven by something other than just making $1, you're not going to make it anymore, because the reaction speed of feedback in terms of like what businesses, how they succeed, and the word of mouth travels so quickly that if you're not actually legitimately trying to help people or solve a problem or providing a great product that solves a problem, you're not going to be successful anymore. So being driven by purpose is a great thing, because that's what makes money, right?
Yeah.
Because most CEOs, they want to make money. But the way you make money is by solving a problem or getting behind a cause and solving whatever problem is from that cause. So, I mean, I think that's a cool thing. I think that if more people were driven by purpose, they would make a lot more money. But
why do you think that's a thing
now?
No. Oh,
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
So, but I think the reason that millennials are driven by purpose is not because they think it's going to make them money. I think it's quite the opposite. I think a lot of them have grown up to hear their parents fucking bitch about money or say evil people are rich or blah, 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 blah. And they think that they're doing a morally correct thing in terms of like, oh, I'm so driven by this higher purpose. And they say it, but the funny thing is they're getting money for it, and they're making money because of it. And that's how you make money. So really, they're fucking pissing in their own pond, and they don't even fucking know it.
Right.
Which is fucking funny, because to me, it's like you're rebelling against the man. Well, a true leader would know how to use that to fucking make money anyway.
Right.
So, being driven by purpose is a great thing. And if you want to make money, you should be driven by purpose. But those people are doing it out of spite of that culture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, as a leader or a manager of those people, you just got to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
You've got to bring the purpose of your business, which your business should have a fucking purpose, to the forefront to motivate them instead of dollars. If you're selling tires, you can apply this to anything. That's why I use these basic examples. But if you're selling fucking tires and you're spiffing your dude $10 a tire for every tire he sells, that's not going to motivate these people. You know what's going to motivate them? You showing them how to sell the safest tires that's going to get the family from here to their family vacation with the least chance of getting injured. And your job is so important, and you can't let these people down. So you have to sell them the best tire for the job, right? Well, the best tire for the job actually happens to also be the most expensive tire for the job.
Right.
But you as a manager, you know how to fucking communicate that properly. Really, it's just a communication thing.
Right. So, I mean, because that touches on the second point.
Dude, 10 years ago, you could tell somebody, oh, sell the most expensive amount of tires, set of tires, and we'll give you the biggest commission. And they would have sold it just for that. But people have changed. And I think it's a good change. I think it's a great change. I think the reason most business people have a hard time dealing with that is because they're too fucking stupid and stuck in their old ways to realize how to communicate to these people. I don't have a problem managing the millennials that work here. I have over 120 of them. They kick ass. We fucking dominate in everything that we do. And if we're not dominating yet, we are going to, because we are a purpose-driven brand. You know, we put the people first. We put people first, and we put getting results first, and that's why we're successful. That's a purpose. You know, what's the purpose of what we do? Dude, all kinds of things. We get emails here every day about people losing 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 fucking pounds, coming off their antidepressants, coming back from eating disorders, learning healthy habits, you know, getting themselves out of depression where they were suicidal before because they took care of their bodies and they got their confidence back and their self-esteem. What is not purposeful about that? That's what makes our company so great. And that's why our independent rep program, our Legionnaire program that people can join, you know, to become a part of is so successful because, dude, we have such a higher purpose here and we're customer focused in terms of solutions. So it's easy with what I do because that's an easy thing to get behind, you know, but most companies will say, like, that's why I use the tire example. They'll say, oh, I sell tires. I can't have a purpose. No, you have a fucking purpose. That's why you're in fucking business. If you didn't have a purpose, you wouldn't be in business. You've just got to figure out what that purpose is on a higher level and communicate that to your people so they feel good about what the fuck they do. You know, that's it. You know, it's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. I think it's
right.
A great thing.
No, I agree with you. And as I'm listening to you talk, I realize that, you know, the first 2 points they make were, you know, they're driven by a purpose and they also want to make an impact. And those things are basically interchangeable.
Dude, I've not been one to be very friendly towards millennials because there is a lot of laziness and there is a lot of entitlement. The millennials listening right now, they might be disagreeing with me on that statement some because they're not like that. Because if you were like that, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. But look around at your friends, at your fucking, you know, buddies who are, if you're, look at what they do. They don't work like our forefathers worked. They don't hustle balls. They don't take pride in their work. You know, like, dude, my family comes from construction background. They might not have made the most money, but dude, I could tell you, I drive down the street with my cousin or my dad, and they could say, I built that house. I built that house. I built that house. And they take pride in that statement. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's not in in this generation that we're talking about the same way. But I do think a big reason, so I will rip on the millennials from a couple different standpoints, and that's one of them. And realize if you're listening and you're a millennial, you're not one of these people or you wouldn't be listening. But I will say that a lot of the bad rep that they get comes from people not understanding how to utilize them correctly in the workforce. You see what I'm saying? So there's guys out there who say, oh, millennials have so much potential and this and that, and they're the fucking greatest. Like, Gary loves this. You know, really what Gary's doing is making a video for millennials to follow him. So he's telling people, oh, they're so fucking great and they're so this or those. Realize that Gary's much smarter than any of you. And he is. And he's making a video saying, hey, millennials are awesome, so millennials will follow him. But I'm going to tell you right now, millennials are not fucking awesome. Okay? They're really no different than any other generation other than they were raised during a technology era where we were all raised during an industrial area. You know what I mean? Era. And so, you know, I'm not going to sit there and make a video that says, oh, they're so great or, oh, they're so shit. If you're lazy, you're lazy. If you're fucking hard worker, you're hard worker no matter what age you are. You know what I mean? But I will tell you this, if you're a millennial listening to this podcast, here's where the breakdowns are with millennials. One, they don't know how to communicate properly. They were raised on fucking video games, on computer games, on fucking TV, on the internet. They don't know how to do basic human communication. So, you know, learning things like how to actually have a conversation or build relationships that aren't awkward is a huge advantage to any millennial listening right now. If you're somebody who is in the millennial generation, be thankful that you are, because most of the people around you are not going to work hard because they've been told they were awesome. They've been told they were special. They've been told they were winners, even when they weren't winners. And because of that, they're going to lose, right? They're going to go out, the world's going to kick their fucking ass, and they're going to get stomped on. So if you're a millennial, if you're a millennial and you're surrounded by these people who are not going to compete because they get stomped on the first time and they quit, you are at a huge advantage. Like, dude, the millennials that want to work right now and build and create and build and make money and do things, those people it's never going to be easier for somebody in the history of Earth to become a millionaire or a multimillionaire or even a billionaire, because we have the technology to communicate instantly. We have all these things in our favor. There's more money and there's less, there's more margin and there's less cost in almost every product out there right now. Things are easy to get made. Information is at its highest availability, but also its highest value ever. And you're competing with people that don't want to compete. So your ability to succeed is at an all-time high. So, while millennials, generally have issues with things that we talked about, if you're a millennial that can correct and doesn't have those issues and actually, has the right mindset, you're the kind of person that's going to fucking dominate. Because like when I was competing, everybody worked hard. Everybody was trying to succeed. When your dad was competing, everybody was hustling. Everybody was trying to make a dollar. Now you have these motherfuckers that don't think that money matters, which is ridiculous because it fucking does. Try to pay for your fucking bills with fucking sunshine and rainbows. We all know it doesn't work. So if you're one of these people that can realize this now and you're fucking 17, 18, 19, your potential is the most that it's ever been. That's the bottom line. And like, I wish Gary would say that in his videos as opposed to saying they're all fucking awesome, because really what you're doing is telling them the same shit that they've been told their whole lives.
Absolutely. I'm glad you touched on the issue of social skills and relationships, because we're going to touch on that later. But real quick, going back. So basically, the first 2 points being driven by a sense of purpose. Second, wanting to make an impact. The third one, he said, kind of tongue-in-cheek, although also very serious, was they want free food and beanbags. What I've noticed about the culture of First Form is that you not only inculcate this deep sense of purpose in your employees and this deep sense of wanting to impact people's lives, but there's also a lot of fun involved in that. And so my question to you is, on a very practical level, you're speaking to
I just had this conversation this morning.
Real quick though, just so on a very practical level, like, what would you tell business owners? What are the ground level steps to starting to build this kind of culture?
Win.
Okay.
You ever see a winning team not having fun?
No.
You ever see a losing team having fun?
No.
You ever see a losing team in sports have a good culture?
No.
You ever seen, does every single winning team have a great culture?
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's winning. Okay? You can't manufacture it. All right? Now, the hard part is how do you get people to believe in winning before you're fucking winning? That's where the fucking skill comes in. All right? But otherwise, once the culture is established, if you're winning, people are generally having fun. If you're not winning, it sucks. And that's that. All right? So we could talk about building a culture, and that's an entirely different subject. I could talk about that for 10 hours, but I'll cut it real short. Define your core values, what the company stands for. Define your purpose. All right? What's your company stand for? We have our core values here. We have things, that basically envelop everything that we stand for. Go the extra mile, take initiative, accept responsibility, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of different things. And what we do is we communicate in those terms. When I'm coaching someone and they're not doing a good job, I'm saying, okay, you're not correcting. I'm trying to explain to you and you're not listening to me. You're not being humble enough to learn from somebody who knows, and you think your way is right. You need to be more humble, and you're violating core value. We live and die by those core values, okay? And I'm giving you a rough example, but we communicate in those terms. And when you start to communicate in those terms, when you correct people or praise people, the culture starts to live. It starts to breathe, all right? What happens is that, that's the first step. The second step is you've got to define your goals and your purpose. Once you define, and obviously the strategic steps that need to be taken to accomplish whatever that goal or purpose is for the company. Once you start doing that, the second step, and you start moving forward, you have to celebrate the progress. Like, hey, look, you guys are doing this. It's working. We're moving forward. Eventually what happens is you start to fucking win. And when you win, and I'm taking out all the practical, tactical elements of this conversation, like that should be taken for a given. Like, you've got to have a great product. You've got to care about your customers. I'm not going to talk about all that shit because it would take forever. All right? You have to have a good product. If you don't have a good product, you don't have a fucking business. But once you start to win, what happens is, and you're communicating in that culture, then you have a fucking culture that starts to really live. And it's not just something that you talk about. It's not the sign in your locker room in high school that you ran down the steps and touched when you went out on the fucking field. It's something that is real. It becomes a real, living, breathing part of your company, and not only a part of your company, but the most valuable part of your company. Okay, because what happens then is that your employees and people, we call it a family here because it is that, start to care about the culture. All right, and that does a bunch of different things. One, it keeps all the negativity and the negative culture aspects out. So like if we hire somebody and they're not a fit, the fucking rest of the team will fucking filter it out instantly and they'll be out. So they start to protect the culture. And then, you know, the culture comes into, you know, everything that you do. When you meet somebody, when these guys leave and they meet somebody, they're a representative of our brand. Somebody connects with that person one-on-one or through email or through social media. They're like, man, I love what this dude's about. That's the culture. And then that's what people are attracted to. That's why people buy from your company, you know, and culture is the most important thing you could ever have because it builds so many things and does so many things for you automatically. Like it's that quote unquote thing. It's that thing that the company has.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know what's different about that company. They just have it. Well, your culture is it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And, you know, most business owners have no fucking clue, nor do they care. They don't even care. They don't even know what culture means. Like if you fucking wrote down, if you asked most CEOs what culture means, and especially small business owners, they'd be like, I don't know. Everybody seems to be like, you know, joking around the water cooler, having a fun time. They don't fucking get it. Like it takes it takes huge amounts of effort and time to instill a culture and to maintain it and to feed it and to let it grow and become its own thing. But once it's its own thing, it's a massive part of your business. And that's what makes you dominate your competition, because most competition can't develop culture. They don't know how. Mm-hmm. And I will do a whole podcast on this because it's way more important than this 5-minute segment here. But, you know, when you have a good culture, usually, you know, once you get it winning, it's going to keep winning. As long as you keep maintaining the culture by winning and by communicating in those terms of core values and getting everybody to believe and all those things, and they start to steamroll and snowball. And so, like, dude, when you're winning, you have fucking fun. You know, like we don't have a set time when you have to be here in the morning or when you fucking leave. Like, dude, people usually roll in here like 8 o'clock, 8:30. Sometimes, you know, they don't roll in until fucking 9:30 or 9:45. Yeah, they usually don't leave here till fucking 7 or 8 or 9. Not because we make them. It's because they like it here. It's fun. And not because we have fucking bean bags. That's what people don't get. They think instilling a culture is like, oh, guess what? We like go to any small corporate business and they think like having a culture is like having a cake in the fucking kitchen room and having a birthday party. Oh, we celebrated Joe's birthday. That's culture. No, it's not. Oh, we put in these special the special stress-free room with fucking squeezy balls and bean bags. It's good culture. No, that's not what makes culture. That's not what makes a fun environment. What makes a fun environment is everybody learning, everybody progressing, everybody fucking becoming better, everybody succeeding, and everybody having fun because we're fucking winning.
And everybody understanding what the ultimate goal is inside the company. Because it's not like we want to be here, but we all have this goal in mind that we want to hit.
Yeah. Well, no, so you want to be here because you want to hit the goal.
Kind of.
No, I mean, dude, you're being, these people think that I know what you're saying. These people think you're being literal. You're not here till fucking 8 o'clock last night because you fucking didn't want to be here. You want to be here because you want to fucking win.
Yes.
And that's, you know, that's what drives having fun, man. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like what you're saying is so profound, but also so like no duh.
Dude, look, every company out there trying to create this positive environment for millennials. You want to fucking build a company with millennials? Tell them how fucking bad they suck when they suck and teach them how to be fucking great. Because when you teach these motherfuckers to kick ass and be great and do shit that nobody else ever taught them, guess who they look up to? You. Think about the high school coach that you had that you hated, or the teacher that you fucking hated because they were so hard, but they taught you and they made you better and they molded you. And then all of a sudden, 10 years later, you look back and you're like, man, that was the best fucking teacher I ever had. That was the best coach I ever had. That's me. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I'm tough as fuck on these motherfuckers. I don't take no shit. You know, like, dude, but you know what? When they're doing good or we're not talking about business, it's not like I walk through the office fucking screaming at them all day. Like, I bust their balls. We have a good time. We joke around. But when it's business time, it's fucking business time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that Flight of the Conchords song. You ever hear that? Business time?
It
You
seems to
obviously
me
haven't,
it
because that
seems
was a fake ass laugh.
no, yeah, I haven't.
Tyler, you know what I'm talking about because he was smiling.
I do.
Well, it seems to me like the stuff that people think is actually wisdom in business. Like if you
Fucking business time.
Well, but what I'm saying is if you transferred it to anything else, people would see the insanity of it. It's like, can you imagine an NFL team going 0-13 and the management thinking, well, but we're giving them free food after practice. You know what I'm saying?
That's what they think.
Right.
No, and they think this. Oh, it's going, we went 0-13, but we have a good culture. No, you don't.
No.
A good culture doesn't fucking lose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you can't manufacture false culture. I see so many companies doing this shit to appease millennials. Like, oh, we're going to take them out on a team dinner. Oh, we're going to go ride go-karts. Oh, we're going to go to this, or we're going to go to that, or we're going to do a special event. Like, dude, people look at us and they try to replicate our culture, and they try to think that, like, oh, they're going to, because we go shoot guns and do shit together and people see it online. And they're like, oh, well, if we take our employees out and do the same things, we'll have the same culture. No, motherfucker, you'll never have the same culture. You know why? Because you're not me.
Right.
That culture starts at the fucking top and it flows all the way down.
And we only get to do that shit because we're winning.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I ain't taking you guys to do shit if you fucking lose.
Right.
That's rule number one. I don't celebrate losing. You know what I mean? And dude, people have it backwards. They think if someone's losing and they baby enough and they're friendly enough and they become friends with them, that all of a sudden that person's going to love being there. No. People want to fucking win, man. It's an innate feeling in our hearts. I don't care how old somebody is. I don't care if they're millennials. I don't care what generation they come from. If they're winning, they're going to have fun. So teach them how to fucking win, and they'll respect you for it, and they'll perform for it, and they'll be loyal for it. That's what culture's about.
So we could stop now, and this podcast would be worth every penny that you pay for it and more. But let's move on.
Zero.
Yeah, what's that?
Which is zero.
Right, exactly.
So I know you just got...
But it's not free.
I know you
It's
just
priceless.
got fucking content. I know, because I know how few people actually know what I just said, that deserves for you guys to share the podcast.
Absolutely.
Just
Bring us
on
a
that.
friend.
But guess what? Because you guys are such special friends of ours, we're going to keep going with this podcast.
That's right, exactly.
And we're going to lay down some extra shit because you know what? I feel like laying down some extra shit.
Yeah.
Can you feel the energy, Vaughn?
I can feel it. It's all because I listen to Crazy
I can
Train.
see the hairs that aren't on your head standing up on end. What are you laughing at? Salmon shorts?
All right, so
I think half the podcast value is me making fun of you guys.
I think it is. When I get a little bit more comfortable, I'll make fun of you. But
Dude, there's nothing to make fun of. What are you going to make fun of?
oh,
There's nothing to make fun of.
moving right along.
Look at this awesome beard. Fucking
true.
svelte muscles.
It's true. Maybe a year ago, there might have been a few things to make
Or
fun
you
of.
going to make fun of a fat person, Vaughn?
Holy shit.
We already see how Vaughn feels about overweight people. He's
No
gonna make
kidding.
Fun of them. Even Tyler didn't cross that line.
That's true. People hair shame me all the time. I can fat shame, right? Can I?
I don't know. I think fat shaming's out, man.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're right. Okay, so moving right along. So part 2 of Sinek's video is he basically establishes, the orientation of millennials, and then he says the thing is that employees provide all this stuff, and yet for some reason, their millennial employees are still not happy, and that's because
what I just said.
Right, because of that. But he identifies 4 pieces: parenting, technology, impatience, and environment.
Well,
and
those are the causes.
right. So
I just gave you the fucking answers.
You did. You
Right.
did. So, but I would love to hear what you say to this. He says, okay, so point number 1 he makes is parenting. And he says, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll just summarize.
Parents are
He
pussies.
says, too many millennials grew up subjected to failed parenting strategies. He says they were told that they were special all the time. They were told they could have anything they wanted just because they wanted. Some of them got honors classes not because they deserved it, but because their parents complained. Some of them got A's not because they earned it, but because they didn't want to but because the teachers didn't want to deal with parents. Some kids got participation medals, a medal for coming in last. And he says the science is pretty clear. It devalues the medal for the award. For those who worked hard, and it also makes the young person who came in last feel embarrassed because they didn't deserve it. So actually, they feel worse. So he draws all this together, and he says, so this is how people were raised, and they go out in the world, and in an instant, they discover that's not how the world works.
Hey, man.
And he says it actually ends up doing the exact opposite of what it was supposed to.
100%.
They go out thinking they're special, falling flat on their
What
face,
happens?
and end up having worse self-esteem than what
I know
they
I've
began
got a
with.
soundbite somewhere about this, like where you go out in the world and the world steps on your fucking throat. I know I said this before.
Right.
Right? Like, dude, it's what I said in the beginning of the podcast. You You're fucking an idealist. This is an idealist strategy. It's working in the wrong direction, right? The idealist strategy is this. We need to make everybody feel good about themselves, and we need to make them feel special, and we need to tell them how great they are. And if we tell them that enough times, they'll feel fucking great, and they'll be successful, and they'll be happy and live happily ever after. That's not correct. The reason people feel great is because they learn the skills to overcome and achieve and actually do things that are of value to them through actual winning, which builds confidence, which makes them feel great, which gives them the tools to go out in the world and kick ass. So it's something that is done from a backwards point of view for people, designed by people who are too fucking lazy or uninformed or uneducated to go out and teach their kids the proper skills, which is the whole point of the book that we did, was to fucking fix this failed parenting strategy.
You mean Otis and Charlie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But you could tell somebody they're great all you want. It does for a million fucking years, but you put them in the real world, and the real world is going to shit right on their face. The first day you go to fucking work and you sit down in your job and you fucking kick your feet up on the desk and think you're the CEO because you want to be the CEO, what's going to happen? You're going to get fucking fired. That's reality. So we could talk about, people just don't appreciate reality, Vaughn, like they used to. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I can remember my dad being like literally, like my dad. Like I was a fat kid and I like to fucking eat. All right. So my dad knew that. All right. So when I would get mad at my dad for staying at fucking work, like I'd be like, Dad, you're late. We gotta, I want to go do this or I want to do that. He'd be like, look, do you want to fucking eat or not? And that got the point across. Because number one, I like to fucking eat and I want to eat. But number two, if there ain't no money, I don't fucking eat. So Dad, you go ahead and stay at work. But I want to eat when you get home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
it makes total sense.
Dude, parents don't fucking get it, man. And it's not even really their fault because they're told by the quote unquote experts that this is the politically correct way to fucking do it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're a parent and you're thinking, oh, I've raised my kid this way, dude, you know what? You know it was wrong when you did it. You were just trying to do the right thing because you were listening to fucking whoever on Monday Morning America or whatever the fuck show is, now, and you did what they said. Well, guess what? They're not a fucking expert. You know what an expert is? An expert is a parent who actually raised two kids that win. Go find that fucking parent. Go find my mom or my dad who have fucking two kids that are both high achiever, high income earners, high philanthropists, okay, and basically all around awesome dudes, if I don't say so myself.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm saying go find parents that did that. And what you'll find the same things. They instilled all the same principles.
So my question is, clearly you agree with him that there's a breakdown in parenting.
Yes.
So if you were gonna take literally the whole millennial generation of parents together and say, listen, guys,
I would put them on an island and burn it.
It's not a
I'm
bad
not kidding.
idea. Okay.
It would fix the culture, and maybe we have to burn the next generation too.
Okay, so if you gave them,
we're gonna get some email. Andy, you believe in fucking genocide?
No, parenticide.
No, it would be generation side.
Generation side.
Yeah.
But seriously,
Hey,
if you gave them one concrete pro tip, guys, if you want to start correcting your bad parenting strategy,
buy Andy Frisella's book.
That's a good. Well, that is.
I'm not kidding.
No,
I've gotten a fucking shitload of emails. I'm talking like over 100 emails from parents in less than 2 weeks' time who have all said the same thing. It said, I'll read this one to you. It's really cool, man.
While you're looking that up, I just want to tell everybody.
I got it right here, Vaughn.
Well, let me tell people already that, guys, we're burning through the first printing run. Some of you have said, when's the next book coming out? It's coming out soon.
People are already wanting to buy the next books, which is fucking great.
Yeah.
Dude, so I got
on that note, can I just tell people, a lot of you guys have bought it. You're giving us great feedback, but Amazon reviews are really helpful.
Yeah, and, leave an Amazon review.
So if you can leave an Amazon review, that'd be great.
Especially the highest rated one.
Yeah, like 5-star.
Yeah, every one.
Yeah.
So if everyone doesn't get 5-star, I'm coming to take your book, motherfucker. So this guy posts, Nathan Plans on Instagram posts, he said, so I read this book to Owen the other night. Man, was I impressed at how my son actually got and understood the message of the book. Well done, Vaughn and Andy. I definitely recommend this book to any parent. I have had 100+ emails / posts exactly like that. Like people are talking to their kids in the terms of Otis and Charlie, and their mind is fucking blown that these little bitty kids, this kid's probably 2, 3, are understanding the concepts. Guess what, people? They're little fucking humans. They understand shit. Okay? You just got to talk to them instead of putting fucking Barney on and not raising your fucking kid and sticking him in front of a fucking video game. How about you read them a book on values, and you have to work to earn shit and all the things that are going to help them through the course of their life when they're little, so that when they get big, they can fucking succeed. Telling them, oh, little Owen, you're going to be the best fucking human ever because you're my human, is not going to help him. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, you could tell people all you want how great they are. I've got some fucking, if I have a shitty employee in here and I go to his desk every day and say, oh, Tyler, you're so great, every day when he sucks, who am I hurting?
Him.
I'm hurting him. I'm hurting his fucking family or his future family. I'm hurting the company. I'm hurting all the people that work at the company because I'm holding it back because he's not being able to do his job. You know what I mean? Dude, prepare your kids from the early age, man. They get it. They understand it. You've just got to put the effort in.
And we've talked about this before, but this is a fundamental misunderstanding of what it means to truly love and care about somebody.
Yes, people
that
think
is
being
a fundamental
we talk about that on
misunderstanding.
leadership. People think leadership, and when you're a parent, guess what? You're a fucking leader. They think leadership is hugging and kissing and being nice. That's not leadership. Dude, part of leadership is celebrating wins where you get to hug and kiss and be nice. But the other part of leadership is teaching them. And the third part of leadership is identifying when they do wrong shit and correcting them on it. And people forget those other two. They just want to do the fucking glory shit. You know, and no matter how much you do dude, you want your kids to hate you? Keep raising them like the people have been raised for the last fucking 20 years. Your kids will fucking hate you. They'll say, my parent was worthless. They didn't do anything for me. They didn't teach me anything. You know how many people that work in my company that I've had tell me, like, dude, my dad never taught me anything. He never taught me anything. He taught me a little bit, but dude, I've learned so much more here. You know, dude, it's sad. You know, like, and I hate to say that. I'm not going to say any names, but like, dude, you know, that's sad because I see these dudes a little bit of time. Like, you saw them for 20 fucking years, you know, and you probably told them how perfect they were.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's when you have a good dad, it's something that you take for granted, but you forget that some people just don't.
Dude, a lot of people don't.
So Sinek goes on to say, and he said, the other thing that compounds things is that we're in a Facebook and Instagram world, and we're good at putting filters on things and showing people that life is amazing all the time, even though people are depressed. So everybody seems tough. They seem to have it all figured out, but they really aren't. And so what he's saying is, in addition to the fact that, you know, they've been not prepared for the world and they're being smacked around, they're also in a world that acts like everything's okay and life should be amazing all the time. And you talk a lot about this in one of our earlier podcast episodes in Living Your Passion Isn't Rainbows and Unicorns. And you talked about how people have very weird expectations that if you pursue the life you love, that means every day is just going to be awesome. And Sinek says that's part of the problem with millennials. They don't understand.
Well,
it's
dude,
not like that.
They've been raised by people who like to paint a picture that is ideal, not real. There's a big difference. You know, reality is you're going to get punched in the fucking mouth. Idealism is that you know, you're you, so you could be anything you want and you don't face any resistance along the way. And, you know, the people who are taught idealism never succeed because the first time they do get punched in the face, which is reality, they quit. And then they pout, they stomp their feet, or they shoot up a fucking school, you know?
Right.
And like, that's the problem right now. It's failed parenting strategies. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I think one of the reasons that people have resonated so much with this podcast is that as active on social media as you are, and Facebook and Instagram, there is a reality to your posts and your personal brand that I think people were hungry for. That when you have a crappy day, you just say it.
I mean, let's be fucking real. Like, most of these motherfuckers out there, with the exception of a couple, aren't even real business owners. They're dudes who make their money off selling fucking info products. And they haven't had the experience to speak on the things that I speak about. And people know that when they listen, because they know in their heart who's the real deal and who isn't. Gary Vee runs a real company. I run a real company. A lot of other motherfuckers don't run shit. they run a social media account and collect money for it. So first of all, yeah, it's a lot more real than most fucking people. Okay. Second of all, I hate people who are lazy. And so I'm extremely aggressive in the way I present myself. I'm also a direct communicator. I don't have time for your fucking emotions, and nor do I give a fuck, because that's not my job. My job is to get you to perform. So I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to perform without cutting any fluff or any pats on the ass. Because you know what? People who need pats on the ass are people who I don't need to waste my time with. You know what I mean? So I don't know why people resonate with this podcast other than, you know, they know in their heart what's bullshit and what's not, you know, and they know, like, when you put something real next to a bunch of shit that ain't real, the real shit stands out. And I think that's probably why people, you know, I don't know. Fuck.
No, I agree, but I think it goes beyond just your actual expertise in business. I think that especially in the success and motivation space, where everything is rainbows and unicorns and you can have your best possible life every moment of the day, is that you have taken time. You've told the story of getting stabbed, what that did to you. You've told the story of struggling with chronic depression sometimes. Not chronic, but, you know, yeah, depression
20 years is fucking chronic.
Well, yeah. Okay. So I think it's insane that people need to have somebody validate this, but just to have somebody come out and say, you know what, you can live the best possible life, but you're still going to have days that suck. Period.
Dude,
it's part of life.
It is.
You know?
And telling somebody it isn't is doing them a disservice.
Right.
For their entire life. Because when they have the bad days, that's whenever they think there's something wrong with them.
Right.
They think, oh man,
exactly.
You know, I'm not as good as this person because they never have a bad fucking day.
Right.
You know, and like, I'm even guilty of it. Like, I don't post on my Instagram or my fucking Facebook and say, oh, I had a terrible day today, because I'm not going to whine about it. But, you know, let's say there is days where I go 2 or 3 or 4 days without posting. Guess what? Those aren't great days for me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So read between the fucking lines.
Right.
I might not vocalize it, but like, if I'm not communicating that way, it's probably because I'm not having a good time.
Right. The silence speaks.
It should speak
volumes.
for itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. No. Okay. So for the sake of time,
I would encourage you to let your silence speak volumes too, because putting it out there for everybody to read is just a bad, bad, bad move. Because once it's out there, you can never take it back, and you don't want people's perception of you to be a whiner, crybaby little bitch.
Right.
You know, because, dude, that's going to affect your income at some point.
Right.
You know, we're getting to the point now where you go to get a job, the first thing I do is go to their fucking Facebook page. If they got a bunch of negative posts, I'm not fucking hiring them.
Absolutely.
Period. I don't care how good I think they are.
Yeah. I've been telling people for a long time that there's a huge difference between being transparent and being vulnerable. There was this, it's kind of in vogue to be vulnerable online, and people pour out like all their dirty laundry and they go into everything.
People make shit up to pretend
You're
to be
right.
vulnerable.
But I say to people, don't do that. I mean, there's a difference between just being honest and saying, yeah, today wasn't great, but it's okay, you know, and then going into melodramatic explanations about all of your deep-seated issues.
I don't think either one of them have a place on social media.
To some extent.
Being vulnerable.
Well, not being, well, that's what I'm saying.
Because
not
if
being
you say,
vulnerable.
look, if you say like if I were to say on social media, like, hey guys, you know, and this is the truth. Like, hey guys, I know you guys all look up to me, you know, but the truth is I don't know everything. Sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I say things that aren't, you know, true in hindsight because I thought they were true at the moment, and I went on later to find out they weren't true. So you should take every piece of information that you get with a grain of salt, you know, and think about it for yourself and use it yourself. That's being vulnerable. Because it's saying, look, I don't have to know everything. Because I fucking don't.
Right.
And anybody that acts like they do, which there is some people out there that do pretend that way.
Right.
They're full of shit.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I think that kind of thing is okay.
Yeah, and that's what I call transparency. To me, vulnerable is like sharing your deepest, darkest. Like there was, I'm not going to get into it, but there was like this trend where everybody was sharing their videos of all their vulnerability, and it was supposed to build community. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like you're gonna just open yourself up on social media. Not only are you giving,
first of all, you're gonna become what you fucking surround yourself with, and if you surround yourself with a bunch of pity and vulnerability all the time, that's what you're gonna be.
Yeah.
So let it be a part of your life that you don't fucking necessarily need to share with everybody.
Right. Which actually leads to the next point, which is that in tech.
See, people do that because other people like it and they get addicted to the attention. You get what I'm saying? So like I was reading on the, you know, it's like this whole body image acceptance movement out there. All right. and people are like, oh, you know, I love my body and I love this and I love that, and they're 400 fucking pounds.
Right.
All right, look, bro, you know, this is beyond you being comfortable and loving yourself. This is a health thing. You're going to be fucking dead. You know what I mean? But people post that shit and other people are like, oh, you're so brave. You're so this, you're so that. So they keep doing it. And then guess what? They never fix their health. They never take care of themselves. They never get to a point where, you know, they're healthy and they fucking die. Okay? What's good about that? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, dude, it's just people get addicted and sucked into these things without even realizing it because of that.
Right. No, absolutely. And to his point,
like, dude, you should be using your vulnerabilities and your things that are weak about you to overcome, and then tell a story of how you overcame it later.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Not today, you know, how you accept how fucking imperfect you are. Everybody's imperfect.
But the millennial, I like the fact that you use the word addicted, because according to Sinek, and I would agree with this, the millennial generation in particular, and there are certainly those outside the millennial generation who suffer from this, they're addicted to social media, and they think that likes and follows is the equivalent of significant relationships, and it's not. And Sinek says the problem is, and he actually says that this is not something he's come in. This is in the millennials have said this themselves, that they don't even know how to have real, deep, meaningful friendships or relationships.
Well,
so they're basically.
How are you going to have fucking deep friendship or relationship with your head stuck to your motherfucking phone all the time?
Right. Right.
Have you literally tried to talk to somebody who's 19 years old right now? It's fucking impossible.
Right.
They don't know shit about anything. They don't know what's going on. They don't know anything about anything productive. They don't know, you know, the only thing they know is fucking Facebook and Instagram and fucking who's get the most Snapchat views.
Right.
You know, and like, dude, that's not real skill. You know, real skill is providing value through those tools.
Right. Like
what I do or what some of these other guys do.
So
you know?
here's
like, dude, the point, that's what I was saying before. If you can learn to have actual relationships and communicate and be a real human, and you're in this generation, you're at a tremendous fucking advantage, because most people are zombies.
Right. So here's a big $1 million question, though. In your personal and your professional life, you're obviously very active in social media. Got 500,000 social media followers on Instagram and rising. But you walk into S2 or First Form headquarters, and it's clear to me that there are meaningful relationships that are part of the culture, friendships. Like, you guys are simpatico. So how have you managed to maintain that balance of, you got to be active, you know, as a personal brand and as a business, you got to be active on social media. But
Dude,
you
it's two
also
different
have
worlds.
you also have to focus on people who are actually in your presence and build those relationships. What are the pro tips, I guess I would say, you give people for making that balance, achieving that balance?
Well, I mean, dude, most people live 80%, 90% of their lives on the internet. Mm-hmm. They're on their phone fucking 7-8 hours a day, for real. 7-8 hours a day on the fucking internet. Like I live on the internet because I'm visible there and people see me, but my total time on the internet is probably an hour a day. The rest of the time, I'm fucking dealing with real shit.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So what, you know, if I'm just because I'm on my phone, and I'm talking about social media, I guess, not the internet. So
right.
When I'm on my phone outside of social media, I'm usually like looking at eBay and DuPont Registry and jets and watches, and cool shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't live in the social media world. Like, the social media world is fucking ridiculous.
Right.
Like, it's just a tool for me.
Do you think people who are building their personal brand think they have to spend 24 hours a day?
I heard it today, man.
That?
I talked to somebody. My brother was talking to somebody last night who was like, "Oh, I'm trying to build my personal brand. You know how much time it takes? I have a real job. I have a blah 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 blah." Bro, it takes less than fucking an hour a day.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about making 1 or 2 posts a day and interacting for a little bit of time with your audience. That doesn't take shit.
Right.
Like, people act like that's a fucking monumental task. It should take you less than an hour a day to do that. Right. You know what I mean? If you're doing it for more than an hour a day, there's something wrong with you. You're not doing it right. Yeah. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree, and I think I've heard from a number of people. Well, what if
you think The Rock spends more than an hour a day on social media? No shit.
No. And I do appreciate what Gary said a while back, where his issue with a lot of the personal trainers is that they're all building their personal brand, but they're not building their business. And I thought that was a pretty insightful.
I would tell you something he said, like you guys know I don't agree with everything he says all the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, but there are things that he says I think are awesome. And one of the things I think that he said that was awesome about social media was that it should be documentation instead of like planning it out. Like he's trying to say, like, he had a word for it. He said document, not fucking something. And like, dude, social media, if you want to build an interesting account or an interesting brand, should be documentation of your real life, not this planned out fucking, fake image of yourself, which is what everybody tries to do.
That makes sense.
It doesn't have to be the perfect post. It doesn't have to be the perfect saying. It doesn't have to be the perfect rant, as he says. It just needs to be your life. And, I think that's where people fuck up, is they spend so much time trying to be perfect that it sucks their time up. Well, it's not hard to, look at Dan Bilzerian. He's the perfect example. He's fucking got one of the biggest social media accounts in the world. And for all intents and purposes, he's a normal fucking dude. I mean, does he have some money? Yeah. But the reason he's so popular on Instagram is because he documents his fucking life, and his life just happens to be interesting. I love him or hate him. The guy lives a unique life. He lives a life like no other fucking person in the fucking world. And he takes pictures of it. And, if you want to be successful on social media, you know what you should do? Live a more interesting real world life. Take pictures of it. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like what I said. They're trying to create something the backwards way. Like when I was talking about trying to create the culture by trying to like make everybody feel good and make everybody feel special and take them out to dinners and have team events and team building events, fucking throw the string of yarn around the room and everybody creates a web, and like, dude, that shit's fucking stupid.
Right.
That's not what creates culture. What creates culture is actually going out, learning the skills, winning, and then, doing the things we talked about. Social media is no different. You want to be successful on social media, document your fucking life and make your life interesting, which means spend more time on your life than what you do on social media. And then your social media will grow. See what I mean?
There are a lot of really good sound bites from this episode.
Yeah, well, dude, my fucking life is my life. Like, people think, oh, you post a picture of your Lambo, you're showing off. Bro, I drove my Lambo today to fucking work.
Yeah.
In the fucking snow. I thought that was funny. So I took a picture and I posted it. It's my life. I document my life. People think it's funny. They fucking, we do the podcast. I say some fucking sound bites. I yell at some people. People laugh or they fucking get mad or they fucking love it and they follow me. But that's still my real life. I'm doing fucking podcast.
Right.
Right. It's not manufactured shit.
Right.
And the biggest way you can be relevant in the social media world is be relevant in the real world.
Right.
Not the other way around.
Makes total sense.
Well, yeah, look at all the Instagram celebrities.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they put all this time and all this effort and all this shit. How much easier is it for somebody like The Rock to build a social media file? You think The Rock is spending 7 hours a day working out shares with other people and share for share and, all these different... No, he's fucking relevant because he's the fucking Rock. You want to... That's the most social traction you can get, is to be interesting in real life.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. Yeah. It also makes sense why...
That's why I need to do some more cool shit.
Well, you do, and you need to bring me with you, and Tyler, and we need.
I bring Tyler with me. I just don't bring you.
I know.
Well, never mind. You just need to bring me with you.
Because it'll be more interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what he's implying.
Vaughn's the most interesting man in the world.
Exactly.
Of the three of us, easily the most multi-layered. Anyway, so okay, before we go to the last point, social media contacts at Andy Frisella.
Guys, if you're not following us on social, you're missing half the content, because I post as much content on social as I do on this podcast. Like, a lot of people, because I could tell that how many fucking listeners we get versus my social following, that a lot of you motherfuckers aren't following me. If you're not following me on Instagram, at least, you're missing out on half the content, because half of the shit, this podcast was born from Instagram content.
Right.
You're getting daily shit on Instagram. You get weekly shit here.
And there's stuff that you're going to get in the podcast you're not going to get on the post, and there's stuff in the post you're not going to get on the podcast.
So if you're not following me on Instagram, or if you don't have an Instagram, make a fucking Instagram. Follow Andy Frisella. Follow Vaughn the Impaler.
No, not Vaughn the Impaler.
That should be your name.
I know. Well, I own that one, but it's at Vaughn, VAUGHNKOHLER. By the way, Andy is MFCEO-1 on Snapchat. I'm Vaughn Kohler on pretty much everything. Tyler is at MyTyler, MAI_TYLER. And you know what? I have a very important...
Tyler's going to change it, though, to MC Salmon.
Yes, he is. I have a very important, just like game-changing announcement, okay? I would like to start a new...
You know, there's nothing worse than an overhyper.
I know, but this
All
one's
right,
big.
Just letting you know
this
before
one's
you
big.
say this.
So as of today, I am starting a new tradition.
Are you coming out?
No.
Is this a big announcement?
You got the wrong co-host. No, so the big announcement
I see what you did there.
Today I'm going
was
to
a good
present my first ever Vaughn the Impaler Grand Pies prize.
The Grand Pies.
Grand Pies prize, yes. So this one
What
goes,
is the Vaughn the Impaler Grand Pies prize?
we're going to do that every week, or I'm going to
We
try
are?
to. Yeah, I'm
Did
going to
you
do
clear
it
this
every-
with the boss?
Well, I didn't, but you know,
Because I'm pretty sure I never heard of this before.
Well, no, you didn't, but
Just
you
riding
know,
them coattails.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, I'm going to fund it myself.
I'm just going to tell you if this is stupid, we're not doing it. But I'll let you do it this one time.
All right. Well, I'm gonna. Okay. So I am.
I
going
do
to,
like the creativity on the name, though.
No, thank
the
you.
Grand
Thank
Pies.
you. No. I'm just. I want to give back.
I think
you
you
know,
should send.
Why are you
I
the
think you should send people fucking pies.
Well,
Vaughn's
that's
Grand
actually
Pie.
not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So if you own a pie company and you want to,
We're gonna
just donate some.
We're gonna send you
That's
a
great.
fucking pie.
That's great. But anyway, this is for a listener. This is every week. It's going to be for a listener who is highly engaged with our brand and who is killing it. Okay. So I already picked the first one. The first one is at _Dan_Vasquez.
no
VA
way. I know that guy.
You do?
Dude, he sucks.
Shut
no
up.
way. We're not giving that guy something.
It's VAZQUEZ. He's building an empire in the cigar industry.
No,
which I thought was cool.
not that guy.
No, I got to do it.
No.
I've already committed to it.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I don't know
But
that guy,
anyway,
but I'm
Dan,
sure he's
Dan's
awesome.
gonna get. Dan, you're gonna
That
get
guy's like, what the fuck?
I'm like making mental notes on where I got to cut and edit this
Yeah.
part.
No.
No, Dan's gonna get a free audiobook from audible.com.
Dan, I'm sure you're an awesome dude.
Yes.
I'm just
yes.
busting your balls.
So, and this is gonna blow your mind. Ready? So he's gonna get the prize
Mind ready to be
because
blown.
Dan isn't just killing it; he's impaling it.
Oh, damn. Drop the mic, son.
So, Dan, you
Drop
have
the
to
mic.
you have to claim your
MC
prize by
Tyler,
actually
You
contacting
need to go
me
take
directly.
his mic off the stand so he can drop it. He's not just killing it. He's impaling it.
Yes.
He's been waiting a fucking week to say that.
Dude,
I have.
that should be
It's
our
been actually
that
more
should
like
be
2
our new
weeks.
hashtag. Instead of kill it, it should be impale it.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. So anyway, no, I mean, you know what? I was thinking about how we could give back to our listeners, and I
like it,
why
dude.
not?
I like
Okay,
it.
so
I'm cool with it.
I'm glad
You
you're.
don't have
I'm
to fund
glad
it
you
yourself.
proved it.
I'm just
So,
busting your balls.
I know you are. So
If it
anyway,
was a bad idea, though, I would have told you no.
I know. You would have edited it out. Okay, so final point, which is not going to be a surprising one. He says, fourth issue with millennials is impatience. They have grown up in a world of instant gratification. Order movies on Netflix. They don't need to check movie times. They just order movies whenever they want. And so they expect that job satisfaction, relationship satisfaction, well, there's no app for that. I just want it right away. And so what he's finding is that there's people who start a job and then they tell their boss, well, I'm leaving. Well, why not? Why are you leaving? Well, because I didn't make an impact. Well, how long have you been here? 3 months. So how do you feel like this issue of impatience? Like, I assume you agree with him.
Let's back this up just a little
Okay.
bit. The world is an instant gratification world, correct?
Right.
All right, we text, we make cell phone calls, we order shit on Amazon, it's there the next day. We, we have an order movie and it comes on immediately. All right, all these things didn't exist when we were kids, correct?
Right.
All right, so how much of is the millennials' fault is it that they expect that when the whole world that they've grown up in is based around that? What if you and I had grown up in a world based around those things? Don't you think we would be more impatient?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and blame them for this. Like, you can blame people for being fucking lazy. You can't blame people for the environment they grew up in. That would be like saying that the environment that Joe because he grew up with two parents who were lazy as fuck, who didn't do shit and didn't teach me anything, should be at the same level that I'm at because I grew up with a dad who fucking taught me everything and a mom who taught me a ton of shit too about being a good person and all these things that have allowed me to get so far ahead. How is it fair to compare Andy to Joe? It's not fair. So how the fuck are we going to compare these kids who have grown up in a society where we have all these tools, all these ways to connect, all these conveniences that you and I didn't have and say, oh, they're fucking lazy because of that, or they're impatient because they're not impatient. They just never been taught patience.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So to say, oh, they're impatient, you could say that about anybody because tons and tons and tons of people who grew up in our era, and I'm going to say our era, but you're older than me.
Yeah,
you are.
Yeah.
So tons and tons and tons of people that grew up that are in that age range who grew up with the same conveniences that you and I had that just weren't as convenient as what these people had have become impatient because these things have been introduced, right? We're fortunate because things took longer and we had to have patience and we had to do things like go look at movie times, that doesn't mean that they're impatient. That just means that they haven't been taught patience. So one of the things that parents, schools, teachers, influencers, mentors, everybody out there who's been successful, who understands patience, should be talking about is patience. Okay? It's something that has been overlooked and not taught and not explained properly. And these kids have no reason to understand why things should take longer than 3 months, which is why I talk about it all the time. And not only compounded on what we're talking about, the modern conveniences that have been, these people have been blessed with. You have every fucking internet shark out there trying to tell kids, oh, it only takes 12 months, buy my program. Oh, it only takes 12 months to be a millionaire. I was living in my fucking basement, 12 months ago, and now I'm a millionaire, trying to get people to follow them. That's bullshit. And there's not enough people out there that are telling them that's the only people out there that I know that do that actively are me and Gary. I don't see anybody else doing that. No, because they're trying to sell something.
Right.
And there's other influencers out there that I respect and like and everything. But dude, you guys have a moral obligation, because I know they listen, to fucking tell people that they have to stick with it. Because just because you're making a few bucks off this person, you have to realize what you're also doing. You're also, because you made a few dollars and you didn't explain that it was going to take time, you're violating them in a moral way, in my opinion, because you're setting them up to fail and you're taking something from them without really being honest, truly honest with them what it's going to take. They're going to go out, they're going to fucking fail, and guess who they're going to blame? They're not going to blame you. They're going to blame themselves. And when they blame themselves, they think they're a failure. They think something's wrong with them. Their self-esteem goes down. They could get depressed, blah, 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 all these other things, all because you wanted to make $150.
Right.
When really you could have still made $150 by telling them, hey, my program works, but dude, be expected to commit to it for the next 3 years. You know what I mean? Or the next 5 years. That way, if they do fail in 1 year, you can always say, hey, I told you 3 years.
Right.
And will you sell as many products up front? You'll probably sell more because it's more the truth and people know the fucking truth.
Right.
But people are so afraid to do that. And like, dude, you can't expect people to be patient that have never practiced things that make them patient.
Right.
That's I started taking guitar lessons when I was 30 years old. My guitar teacher's biggest quote that he's very intelligent dude. And I need to start seeing him again because I just kind of missed a friendship. But his quote that he used to always say, because like, dude, I'm an impatient dude. I want shit right away too. Right. But what's the alternative? Quitting? I'm not going to fucking quit because I know sure as fuck I'm not going to get it then. So I have patience by default. Like I'm just not going to give up until I get where I want to be. But he used to say, because like learning guitar at 30 is really fucking hard. And he used to always say, you know how you need to become more patient. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And he goes, you know how to become more patient? By practicing things that require patience, which is practicing your guitar. You know what I'm saying? And dude, that's the truth. But you can't expect people, patience is a skill just like anything else.
Right.
How are you going to expect somebody to be good at being patient if they've never been required to be patient? So I think that's society sort of failing these people, not them, not a fault in their character.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you emphasize that, because that's really what,
like, dude, a lot of people, like, I bust millennials balls. I'm not afraid to do that, because
no, that's clear.
Like, dude,
that's clear.
But I don't think they're pieces of shit. I just think that they fucking haven't learned a lot of the things that are quote unquote reality.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. And dude, are there some lazy motherfuckers? Fuck yeah, there are.
Right.
But there's lazy people in every generation.
But
like, a lot of people think millennial and they think, oh, I'm destined to fail. I disagree.
Right.
I think that millennials have the ability to succeed the most, because there's the most opportunity, because they haven't been taught things like patience. They haven't been taught things like the same work ethic. They have been raised to go out in the yard and pull fucking weeds for 8 hours, or rake the leaves, or cut grass, or set up a lemonade stand. They haven't done that. They've played video games because their parents are too lazy to help them learn. I mean, dude, we have an entire generation of humans in America that have been raised on fucking PlayStation. Mm-hmm. They could tell you everything about Call of Duty, but they can't tell you one thing about fucking how to, fix the spark plug on your fucking lawnmower. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, they just haven't been raised right.
Absolutely.
And whose fault is that? That's
something Sinek says at the end of his video, and frankly, now that I think about it, it's his fourth point, which is that these really are terrific kids. Through no fault of their own, they have been put into a situation, and then what happens is they go into company environments with people who don't care about them, who only care about making money, and they fail. And he talks about how there's just this spectacular lack of leadership. And I love what he says. He says, listen, if you're a business owner, yeah, I'm sorry, it sucks to be you. But if you want to succeed with millennials, you've got to care. And I think that's what I really truly admire about you, is that you do kick people in the rear, but at the same time you realize that, okay, if I'm going to get these millennials to produce and to become the kind of people that they can be, it may mean I have to wear the drill sergeant hat. It may mean that I have to wear parent hat.
It used to be easy. It used to be easy to be a fucking business owner or a CEO. Mm-hmm. You want your people to perform, you put a fucking commission on whatever product it is, and they fucking go sell it and they make money. It was that easy.
Right.
Because a generation ago, before millennials, people were still taught that money was important and that the goal was to go out and create a living to take care of your family. These kids have not been taught that same way. It's not necessarily wrong, it's just different.
Right.
So really what this is managers being lazy as fuck about adapting their technique and learning new techniques on how to manage people. A great manager, a great leader, a champion coach, which is what a great CEO is somebody who gets the most out of their people. Mm-hmm. All right? So just because you think they should perform a different way than what they actually perform doesn't make them wrong. It actually makes you wrong. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
absolutely, when
you're a fucking CEO or manager, or you have people right now and you bitch about millennials, you're copping out. Like, I'll bitch about them if there's a real thing to be bitched about. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there's certain things that are not. There's a line in the sand where it's not their fault anymore; it's yours. Mm-hmm. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. So, guys, basically, to sum up, millennials have been taught that life is easy.
I mean, dude, we could do a whole podcast on how to fucking get millennials to perform. I think that would be a good podcast.
Yeah, I think it would be.
You know, because I get that question all the time. It's one of the most common ones from 30-year and older business owners who are like, man, how do I get these young kids to perform? Blah, 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 blah. Now, there are going to be some that's still money motivated. And for those of you that are out there, there's nothing wrong with that. But you get much more out of an organization as a whole, and you always will, by doing it the way they want to be led. Look at the companies who fucking survive and thrive, you know, year after year after year after year. They all have amazing cultures and they're purpose driven. You know, like, look at a company like Apple. You know, we're bringing these new technologies to the market to help people succeed, to help people be better and have a more enjoyable, more effective life. You know, we're trying to solve real problems with technology. That's a purpose. You know, look at Harley Davidson. Dude, unleash your inner badass. You know, freedom, America, fucking bald eagle tattoo on your chest, badass. You know, dude, that's a problem. You know, people don't, you know what the problem is there? They don't feel cool. So what do? They go buy a fucking Harley. They join the culture of Harley. And guess what? They're cool. You know what I mean? You know what the biggest problem people need solved is they want to feel cool. You know, solve that problem, make them feel fucking cool, and you're going to win. You know what I mean? But people don't get that. Like, they work so hard to try and create this money machine without giving these people a purpose. And dude, what fun is that? Like, oh, I'm the only one making money. These guys are all making a little bit of money, but we don't have any fun. We don't have a purpose. But you're fucking robots, and humans aren't robots. They're humans. So give people something to celebrate. Give them something to go for. Give them something to try to win at, you know, something to achieve, something to innovate. You know, those are the things people want to be a part of. They don't want to be a part of they don't want to be a cog in a machine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, and that's really what people bitch about millennials the most. Oh, they're fucking lazy, entitled, blah, blah, blah. Some of them are lazy, yes. Some of them are entitled, yes. But what I don't agree with is when they say, oh, they're purpose-driven. That's a good thing. That's a great thing. Because if your company was purpose-driven, it would make 10 times the money that it normally would. That's why our retail stores are the highest grossing per square foot retail model in the country besides the Apple store. Because we have a fucking purpose. You know what the purpose is? We care. We care if people come in our store and get results. We care if they lose weight. We care if they build muscle. We care if they feel better. We care if they're more confident. We fucking care. So it works. And you know what? When you care about people, they care about you. So what do? They go out and they tell their friends, hey, go see Andy over at the supplement superstores because he fucking cares. And guess what happens? Your business grows. You take care of people, they take care of you. It's that simple. But people have such a hard time with that because typical business is, how can we manipulate the customer into getting their money? How can we change the color of our packaging to increase sales 0.002%, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? How about you just like make your product better? How about you just show your customers what this product's going to do for you? How about you spend more time with your customers, more time with your employees? That's going to increase your sales a lot fucking more than whatever color you put on the fucking packaging. But, you know, it's corporate America, dude.
So before you wrap up, I have to tell you this conversation has given me a great idea for yet another book of yours. Because you have a whole generation of people who think life should be easy, and you're telling them, no, it's hard. You have a whole generation of kids who, because of social media, are shallow, and you're saying, no, what you need is deeper relationships. And you have a whole generation of people who think that success could come instantly, and you're telling them, no, it's going to take a long, long time. So here's my epiphany. You ready for this?
I don't know.
Okay. The New York Times best-selling book by Elizabeth Gilbert was called Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah. You're
going to come up with a blockbuster book called Hard, Deep, and Long.
That's my motto.
Hashtag impale it.
I like it.
I'm gonna probably get blowback for that, but
I don't give a fuck.
Well, I don't either, really. When
yes,
it comes
you do.
Down to it. No, I really
don't. We talked
don't.
about this last episode.
No, I don't. I think it just perplexes me.
Hard, deep, and long. Register that name. We're gonna use it.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I've just ruined it now because somebody's gonna write it down.
No, you fucking register it like right now.
Oh, right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
People got 3 days before people hear this shit.
That's true.
You put .com on on the end of it,
you
and it sounds like
are already
.com.
3 days behind. I bet harddeepandlong.com is not available. I bet it's some interesting content.
Okay, guys, thanks so much. Any other closing comments?
Yeah, I do have some closing comments. You know, if you're a millennial and you're listening to this podcast, you're already part of the group that is on the right track. So give yourself, some credit there. When I speak negatively about millennials, it's because I have witnessed frustration. This is where Gary and I don't agree, because I run a retail company. I employ all millennials in that retail company. I know how hard it is to find good, and my people, because they listen to this too, you guys are fucking great. Do we have our issues? Absolutely. Do we have our struggles? Absolutely. But my people are the fucking best people. Like, my people, I don't care if we open up fucking whatever store, ice cream store, a tire store, fucking a store that sold widgets. It doesn't matter. We will whoop your ass because our people are awesome. But to get those people is a different story. We interview fucking 5, 10, 20 people for every one person we hire, maybe more, because so many people are just clueless. That's where the bad rep on millennials get. And that's where it comes from. So you guys have to realize that you are at a tremendous advantage. And that's a good thing that your generation is the way it is in a lot of ways. But there's certain things about millennials that are really cool too. Being purpose-driven is one of the things I like most about them, because they do want to be a part of something, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, I don't think that their lack of patience is something that they should be faulted for. They grew up in an era where patience has become something that is very rare. So that means if you develop it as a millennial, guess what? Success is easier for you to achieve than it was for me or the generations in the past. You know, if you're a hard worker and you're millennial, your chances of success are much higher than it was for me or the generation of the past, when there were more people who were wanting to go out and make a lot of fucking money. You know, that's awesome. If you're a millennial, you should be happy about that. You know, if you're listening to this podcast and you're a millennial, your chance of success, because I can already tell you're on the right track or you wouldn't be fucking listening, are so much higher than what it would be for your parents or your parents' parents, when everybody was forced to work, because if they didn't work, they'd fucking starve. Okay? You should feel good about that. You should feel good about being a millennial. You should take pride in that, because and you should set an example for that brand of quote unquote millennials. You see what I mean? But you know, when people bash millennials, realize they're not bashing you. You're the fucking pride of the millennial generation. You're the people that make us have hope. That's you guys listening. You know, feel good about that. Don't get upset when people bash millennials. The thing that, you know, I see now, like, people bash millennials, and then all the other millennials are like, fuck you, we work hard, blah, 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 blah.
Right,
they're not talking to you.
No.
They're talking to the other motherfuckers who live in their mom's basement till they're fucking 40 years old. And you know half your fucking friends are those people. So, dude, don't get so defensive. You know what I mean? Like, feel good about what you are. You know, do I agree with what Gary says about all these millennials or blah, 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 blah? Sort of, I guess. Like, there's good millennials out there doing cool shit, just like there's good people in any generation doing cool shit. But I do think there are lacks in certain things because of failed parent strategies like we're talking about here, where people were raised on video games and fucking microwave dinners, and they didn't have real communication. They didn't go out and play in the fucking dirt. They didn't jump their bike over ramps and over their friends and play with Hot Wheels in the fucking mud. They didn't do that shit. So they have different perspectives, you know, and whether it's their fault or not, which, you know, they've got to adapt. And when they don't adapt, it becomes their fault. And that's the problem I have with it. When you walk into a workplace and you're not going to give it your all, you're not going to contribute, you're not going to take initiative to be the best you fucking can, you're a lazy piece of shit. You know, and that's it. And that's what you're going to get in life. You're going to get a lazy piece of shit life. You can't hide your way in business to success. It doesn't happen. You know, a lot of people think they're going to come into a job and they're going to do work half-ass and they're going to hide in the system, and eventually, because they get so old, they're going to become successful. No, that's a bad strategy. It just is. You know, it's never going to work out for you. So if you're one of these millennial people, realize that, especially if you're listening here, you could shock the fucking world with your work ethic and your drive and your ability to take responsibility and be a leader by just being ambitious and doing the things that we're talking about here. A tremendous opportunity for you guys, and I hope you take advantage of it.
Absolutely. All right, guys, thank you so much. Catch us next time.
Bye.